My beautiful Royal Sussex Squad family, welcome back to another powerful, heartfelt and truth-telling episode. Today's story takes us deep into the roots of love, strength and family. The kind of story that reminds us what it truly means to endure with grace, just as our Duke and Duchess of Sussex have always done. We're talking about the recent and worrying news that Lady Sarah McCorquodale, Princess Diana's beloved elder sister and aunt to both Prince Harry and Prince William, suffered a serious fall from her horse and has been hospitalized for a long time. Now, let's take a moment, because this is no small thing. Lady Sarah is 70 years old, yet still active, still riding, still strong, still independent. That spirit alone tells you something about where Princess Diana, and by extension Prince Harry, inherited that unbreakable will to stand up and keep going, no matter how many times life tries to knock them down. Charles Spencer, Diana's brother, recently opened up on a podcast about the accident. He said she's still riding, and she had a really bad fall last month and has been in hospital for a long time. You can hear both worry and admiration in his voice. He called her quite a handful as a patient, and even joked that her doctor described her as quite a character, which he understood as code for "please take her home soon." That, my friends, is vintage Spencer strength. It's the same fierce spirit we saw in Diana, that mix of courage, humour and grit in the face of hardship. Lady Sarah is said to be on the mend, and thank goodness for that. The world still needs her, because she's one of the few people who's kept the flame of Diana's compassion alive through all the years of media chaos and royal coldness. Now, let's take a moment to remember who Lady Sarah is. She's not just a name in the headlines. This is the same woman who stood by her sister's side through thick and thin, long before Diana was ever a princess. She was there when Diana's life changed forever, and she's remained a grounding presence for both Prince Harry and Prince William, even after all the royal family's divisions. Let's talk about that bond for a second, because it's powerful. When people look at Harry and Meghan today and try to diminish them, what they forget is that Harry comes from the Spencer side. A family defined by warmth, compassion and truth, not by rigid rules or cruel hierarchy. The Spencer women, Lady Sarah, Lady Jane, and of course the late Princess Diana, are cut from a cloth of empathy and defiance. They've never been afraid to go against the grain when it meant standing up for what's right. Charles Spencer even shared a story about their childhood, one that perfectly captures Lady Sarah's boldness. Apparently, during an argument with their father, she rode her horse straight into the hall of their family home, Althorpe, and simply stayed there. Now imagine that. As Charles said, "It was a brilliant gesture, because what are you going to do with that? That's defiance wrapped in grace. That's courage with a touch of humour. And that, my friends, is pure Diana energy." Now let's draw the connection here, because this isn't just a story about an accident or a hospital stay. It's a reminder of the kind of family Harry came from, one that understands pain, loss, and the cost of fame, one that values love over protocol, compassion over performance, and truth over silence. When Lady Sarah helped oversee the creation of Princess Diana's statue unveiled in 2021, she was honouring not just her sister's legacy, but the values that Harry and Meghan continue to live by today: compassion, service, and empathy. Remember that statue unveiling? Harry flew from California to the UK just to be there, standing side by side with William, despite the tensions, despite the noise. That was Diana's spirit alive in him, doing what was right, not what was easy. Lady Sarah and her sister, Lady Jane, also attended Archie's christening in 2019. Another quiet but powerful reminder that Harry and Meghan's family ties on the Spencer side remain intact, full of love and mutual respect. The media rarely mentions that, do they? Because it doesn't fit their false narrative of isolation and estrangement. They want to paint Harry and Meghan as cut off from everyone. But the truth is far from that. The Spencers, the people who really knew Diana, have always understood Harry's choices. They know why he walked away from the cold machinery that destroyed his mother. And speaking of understanding, Charles Spencer also talked in this same podcast about the day he had to deliver Diana's eulogy. You could hear the emotion in his recollection. He said he looked through his entire address book trying to find someone to give that speech, someone who could honour his sister properly. But in the end he realised it had to be him. His mother even told him, "It's going to be you. Your sisters and I have decided it." That moment, that weight, that courage, is a symbol of what the Spencers have always carried, the responsibility of truth. That's something Harry inherited. That's something he's passed on to his children. And that's something Meghan has amplified through love, compassion and strength. But let's be honest, while Lady Sarah is recovering quietly, notice how the British press has been subdued about this story. There's no relentless intrusion, no mockery, no so-called sources spinning chaos. And you know why? Because she's not Harry or Meghan. When it's them, every headline turns into a circus. Every private moment becomes tabloid fodder. But when it's someone related to Diana's side, they suddenly remember how to use the word respect. The hypocrisy is staggering. And yet, here's the twist. Even when the media tries to silence compassion, the truth still shines through. Lady Sarah's recovery reminds us of the deep humanity in Harry's family, the kind of humanity that's been erased from the cold Windsor narrative for years. You see, Harry and Meghan are not anomalies. They're the continuation of Diana's truth. When Meghan extends compassion to others, when she works on projects that empower women, or when she uses her platform to inspire rather than divide, that's the same moral DNA that came from the Spencer side. That's the same resilience we see in Lady Sarah right now, fighting her way back to health. Let's talk about strength. Lady Sarah's fall could have been devastating, but she's recovering. That tells us everything about her willpower. And that's what the Sussexes represent: recovery, endurance, and grace under fire. Harry faced years of smear campaigns, lies and betrayal, but he's still standing tall. A loving husband, a devoted father, and a man determined to protect his family from the same fate that took his mother. And Meghan, despite endless attacks, has remained poised, elegant, and true to her values. Just like Lady Sarah, she's quite a character, as the doctor said. That's code for strong, unapologetic, and not easily broken. When we talk about family, we have to remember the unseen bonds. The Spencer side has always quietly supported Harry, even if the cameras don't show it. When the palace turns cold, the Spencers offer warmth. When the tabloids spit venom, the Spencers remain dignified. And that's why stories like this matter, because they remind us of who Harry really is, not who the media tries to make him out to be. Now, imagine Lady Sarah in her hospital bed, probably cracking jokes, giving her doctors a run for their money, refusing to stay down. That's the spirit Diana loved in her sister. That's the same spirit Diana passed on to Harry. And that's why the Sussexes continue to thrive, no matter how much negativity is thrown at them. So as Lady Sarah recovers, let's send love her way, not just because she's Diana's sister, but because she embodies the compassion and courage that the world needs more of. And let's also remember, behind every tragedy, there's a truth the media won't tell you. The Spencers are strong. Harry is strong. Meghan is strong. And together they represent the future Diana dreamed of, a future built on love, empathy, and truth. And before we close, let's make one thing clear. No amount of tabloid lies or royal coldness can erase the legacy of the Spencer family. It lives in Harry's kindness, in Meghan's grace, and in their children's laughter. It lives in every act of compassion they extend to others. So, to Lady Sarah, may she recover quickly and return to the freedom she loves. And to Harry and Meghan, may they continue to walk proudly in Diana's light, reminding the world that love always wins over cruelty, and truth always outshines lies. Prince William and Prince Harry's aunt hospitalized after suffering. Really bad fall from her horse. Lady Sarah McCorquodale, the sister of the late Princess Diana, has been in the hospital for a long time. Her brother Charles Spencer has revealed. Prince William and Prince Harry's aunt, Lady Sarah McCorquodale, suffered a serious fall from her horse last month. Her brother Charles. Spencer has revealed the 9th Earl. Spencer said Lady Sarah, 70, has been in the hospital for a long time, during an appearance on the Rosebud with Giles Brandreth podcast. A friend tells people Lady Sarah, the eldest sister of the late Princess Diana, is on the mend. Following the accident, an aunt of Prince William and Prince Harry is recovering after a really bad fall from her horse. Lady Sarah McCorquodale, who is the eldest sister of the late Princess Diana, fell and seriously injured herself last month. Her brother Charles Spencer revealed the accident during a chat on the Rosebud with Giles Brandreth podcast on Friday Oct. 24. Describing the incident, Charles said of Lady Sarah, 70. She's still riding, and she's had a really bad fall last month and has been in hospital for a long time. I think she was quite a handful as a patient, because the lead doctor said to my brother-in-law, "She's quite a character, isn't she?" the 61-year-old said, referring to Sarah's husband, Neil McCorquodale, which I think is code for, "Could you take her home?" A friend tells people that Lady Sarah is on the mend. Charles, who is the 9th Earl Spencer, said his sister was always in trouble when they were growing up at the family's stately home, Althorpe. She was quite punchy, he told podcast host Brandreth, 77. One day, when in the midst of an argument with their father, Charles recalled how Lady Sarah rode her horse into the hall of their home and simply stayed there. It was, her brother said, a brilliant gesture, because what are you going to do with that? Like her sister, Lady Jane Fellows, 68, Lady Sarah has stayed close with her nephews, William, 43, and Harry, 41. In September 2024, she made a rare appearance alongside William as she supported him at RAF Cranwell, where the Prince was honouring graduates at the flight training school where he had also been tutored. Lady Sarah was one of the committee members helping commission and manage the process of the statue erected in tribute to her late sister in 2021. On July 1st of that year, on what would have been Diana's 60th birthday, Lady Sarah was joined by her siblings Charles and Lady Jane when William and Harry unveiled the statue in the grounds of Kensington Palace. Harry returned from California for the occasion. In 2019, she and Lady Jane also attended the christening of Harry and his wife, Meghan Markle's son, Prince Archie, at Windsor. Princess Diana died at the age of 36 following a car crash in Paris on August 31, 1997. During his appearance on the podcast, Charles also spoke about writing what became one of the most famous eulogies of the last century. He told Brandreth that he initially wondered who would be the right person for the immensely moving task. "I had a big, thick address book, and I thought, I want to find someone who's going to make the speech for her. And I got to Zed, and I hadn't found anyone," Charles said. "I got off the plane in Heathrow Airport, called my mother. I said, I can't think who's going to give the eulogy. And I've got an awful feeling it's going to have to be me," he continued. "And she said, well, it is going to be you. Your sisters and I have decided it." And to my Royal Sussex Squad family, you know how we do it. Let's keep speaking truth to power, supporting our Duke and Duchess, and celebrating stories that reflect their humanity and strength. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Royal Sussex Squad, turn on those notifications, and if you want to help keep this platform alive and growing, tap that Super Thanks button. Every contribution helps us continue shining light on the truth and standing up for what's right. Until next time, stay royal, stay bold, and remember, love always wins.